Talent Talk Tuesdays is all about harnessing your God-given talents to live with greater clarity, purpose, and joy. You are wonderfully made, my friends. May all we do be for God's glory. Welcome to Talent Talk Tuesdays. I'm Lisa Mladnick, your host. And next week, I'm starting a series of love stories. So everything I'll talk about for the next few weeks can be applied to having better relationships in all areas of your life, not just your marriage. But I'm going to focus on marriage for the next few weeks. And I hope you'll enjoy the stories and their lessons. And be encouraged to dream a lot bigger when you think about the future of your marriage. A lot of us are stuck there. So I really want you to start asking for the grace to dream big. Okay, so today is about introducing a superb resource. I've done a couple of online groups around strengths-based marriage using Clifton Strengths and this book. This is Strengths-Based Marriage by Jimmy Evans and Alan Kelsey. I want you to look at, there's other covers. This is an old copy, but I love this book so much. I've written all over it. It's got paper clips in it and it's all dinged up. It's a terrific little book. I'm not putting an ordering link into the show notes because I want you to be assured I do not have an affiliate relationship with these authors. It's just a fantastic book, Strengths-Based Marriage. Okay? So I've run some webinar series for Catholic couples a couple of times, and it's been incredibly productive using that book. We met once a week, and I would teach a few of the concepts each week. That's basically it. I facilitated, we talked a little bit. Very simple. And the couples did the work from the chapter questions on their own, or they didn't. You know, some people worked harder than others, but everyone got something out of going over the concepts in light of their unique strengths. So you take the Clifton Strengths Assessment, and if you want to do this, email me. I'll send you my coupon code. I get absolutely nothing for doing that. It's just a gift. For $10 off, do at least your top 5 and get this book. Okay, I'm serious. I can't say enough about it. Okay, so by the end of one of our cohorts, at the end of 7 weeks, this fellow I'm going to call Glenn had a comment that I think really just summed it up. He was a school teacher. His wife was homeschooling their 10 children. Wonderful people. And Glenn gave me permission to share this. He said at the end of our last session, "We have made more progress in our marriage in the last 2 months than we have in the last 10 years. I literally did nothing but chat with them for 7 weeks for an hour once a week. They did the work on their own. You can do this." Okay. And while he was saying this, more progress in our marriage in the last 2 months than in the last 10 years, I could see his wife in the Zoom session next to him, nodding her head in agreement. They were on the same page, literally and figuratively, okay? So what I want you to grasp in this short episode is that our strengths are powerful lenses. Literally think of them as being ways that you see and experience life in really unique ways. Now, some people have wondered philosophically, like, do we all see colors completely uniquely? Who knows? God's that creative, could be. But the important thing to understand is that every talent that you have it's nuanced for you. And the combination of your talents is too. And so each talent has its own powers, weaknesses, blind spots, areas that need self-management, etc. And so understanding them is really cool. It's like learning what's under the hood of a really good sports car. Okay, but this is critical. Understand that it is part of God's design that each of us is seeing through these really different lenses. And we don't always see the same things. We are wired so differently that it's literally like we're standing around looking at objects on a table, and each of us sees different objects. If you have ever heard yourself say, "He just doesn't want to understand," or "She's just pretending not to know what I mean," or is being willfully blind to what I'm trying to show or demonstrate, what you're noticing is extremely common. We may think the other person is being willful, but they may not be capable of seeing what we see. And we may not be capable of seeing what they see. The story that I tell next week is going to illustrate this very beautifully and powerfully, okay? So just let that sink in, that we're really seeing and experiencing the world very differently. And that's part of God's design. Part of God's design, all right? So it's possible to understand each other's design as being willed and purposed by Almighty God, and then grow much, much closer to each other. It helps us to stop taking things personally, for one, And it gives us a lot of information so we can start stepping into each other's worlds. So each other starts to feel seen and heard. It's so good. So again, I get nothing at all for recommending this book, but I'm going to hold it up again. And spoiler alert, it even has a section on how our talents show up in the romance department. Yes, that is exactly what I mean. But don't worry, it's general information. It's nothing explicit. It's very, very tasteful and very intelligently done. There are 4 different talent domains, and it gives kind of general tendencies about what's lovely for that person. I'll just use that word. Okay. So if your marriage is basically healthy, meaning there's no abuse, no addictions, infidelity, mental illness, anything that would signal the needing help from a very well qualified healing professional. Okay. I can't do that work. I'm a coach. I'm not qualified to do that work. But this kind of learning, forward movement, growth, awareness work, if you're in a reasonably stable marriage, and if you're each, in reasonable condition, in other words, we all carry wounds, we all have our difficulties. But if things are kind of relatively okay, this strengths awareness really can be a game changer. So yes, it takes effort and intentionality, persistence, and prayer. Right? It means letting go of the past. This is so hard. Ask for the grace to do this and start fresh with each other. One of my favorite scriptures is in Lamentations 3, and it says that God's mercies are new every morning. We're supposed to live and reflect God, right? So this is beautiful and exciting work. It invites you to step into a place of exploration and adventure with your spouse, seeing the world, each other's worlds, your own world with fresh eyes together. Now, some of you may be wondering, very appropriately, what if my spouse won't cooperate? Not everybody likes to do this kind of work, right? Can I do this work alone? Yes, you can. I do. It's always better for a marriage if you're working together. There's no question. Pray, ask God, ask your guardian angels to work together to get the 2 of you on the same place. My husband's not a person of faith, so we can't pray together about it. But, oh my gosh, the graces. But at any rate, I started for the first year or so just strength spotting. I'd had the Gallup training. I was coaching people using strengths. Of course, I wanted my whole family to do it. But I just started strength spotting, started noticing people's tendencies, what lit them up, what, gave them joy, made them seem peaceful or whatever. I really started just taking notes and making some educated guesses. And really, in particular, noticing the things that energized my husband and gave him joy. And I made some good guesses, it turns out, because eventually I was able to pressure him into taking the assessment, which confirmed some of what I had already guessed and provided lots of new insights. And even though he doesn't want to be in the work, it still gave me a big old hunk of data to work with to better know and love my big hunk. So now I know the kinds of people that I'm talking with, right? I'm preaching to the choir here, so please forgive me for stating the obvious, but be selfless in this work. Create a really safe environment. If you do your reports, and you can go out on a date night and kind of read your feedback to each other, or read each other's feedback and comment on it. But this is not the time to say, oh, yeah, you do this. That drives me crazy. Stay away from each other's blind spots and weaknesses and look for the good. Look for the beauty of God's design in each other. Call it out and affirm it, okay? Just be selfless. And again, call on your guardian angels to help you and take some risks. Be vulnerable. And pay really close attention to what the Holy Spirit inspires you to try. And again, that book is full of great ideas. There's even some date night stuff in there. And don't give up. That's what our spiritual enemy wants, right? Our Lady of Fatima said the final battle would be against marriage and the family. So we want to really be deeply loyal to our spouses, even if we're carrying a lot of pain, a lot of chronic frustration, resentment. A lot of that is us just misunderstanding each other. It's normal, sadly, but it's part of our broken world. And remember, what you're seeing in your spouse is God's design. That's what we're really talking about here. He made it. He loves it. He's in it with you and with your spouse. And remember that in Genesis chapter 1, verse 31, God tells us that everything, or the scripture tells us that everything God created, he called very good, very good. He was so pleased. And he promised at the ascension that he would be with us always and send the advocate. So no matter how you're feeling about your marriage right now, you are not alone. And there is nothing in you or in your husband or your wife that cannot be redeemed, blessed, refreshed, restored, and recreated together with God. We love to say that we co-create with God when we make our children, right? So true. We can also, as unique and unrepeatable individuals, co-create a unique and unrepeatable marriage. And again, I get absolutely nothing for recommending this book, but the whole point of this episode is to get you to get this book and do your talent themes. Go ahead and take the assessment. It's easy. And if you just do the top 5, it's also cheap. And I get absolutely nothing at all for that. And do write to me if you want my discount code. But anyway, so I recommend this book because it can be a roadmap to greater mutual understanding, intimacy, connection, and joy for all of your relationships, but in particular your marriage. And I really hope you'll get it. Next week, I'll tell you a fantastic story, a true story, as always, with permission of the client or friend or whoever it might be. Always get permission, about a couple that discovered a 360-degree way of looking at their marriage. So good. Feel free to send any comments or questions to lisa@wonderfullymade139.com. I'm so grateful that you tuned in. Remember, you and your spouse are wonderfully made, my friend. I'm praying for you. Please pray for me too. God bless you.